guy knows if he gets involved in the stock market and has to start answering to stockholders, then that means the quality of his product eventually is going to suffer because the money is going to end up funneling out of the company, not to the employees and not into product research and manufacturing to make a good quality product. Because if you don't make a chainsaw properly and it malfunctions, then you have lawsuits on your hand.
Yeah. Well, there you go, and that's also evidence then that there are people who are consciously taking this, taking that choice, so to speak, of not going in that direction with their companies, and that might very well be those types of companies that will last throughout this, the slow ongoing fall down of the system, the crash that is going on now,
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and when you're dealing with people who are skilled, who are making these types of things, and it's all local, it's all smaller, you're getting a better product. You might pay a little bit for it, a little bit more, but in the end, you're going to get something that's going to last longer, and you're getting something that's quality, and it's made by, it creates this kind of a healthy economic cycle than what we're seeing now.
Well, absolutely, you're totally right. Again, I've for years been puzzled over that statement that healthy capitalism is to develop better products all the time. But what I've seen is something that goes into reverse. They form some kind of cartel and they try to develop a product that in the most reliable way possible breaks down in the most credible way in the shortest amount of time in order to go to buy a new product, if it's a TV or whatever, or even a car, or I mean, especially all these electrical appliances these days are like, they break down faster than you have the time to buy some of them. It's incredible the junk that is produced, and again that comes about from also the very cheap labor. I mean, many of these products are China, Taiwan made, and they're crap basically, and that's what we paid for. We've sponsored this ourselves, and we're getting what we're paid for,
Yeah, and that's a whole other thing, here with that comes up here is that what we buy, what we put our energy towards, our labor in what we buy is extremely important. If people who know about this New World Order can sit around and know about it, but if you're not going out and trying to consciously live what you know, then you're falling short. If you're if you know about all this stuff that's going on, and then you're going to go out and you're constantly looking for the cheaper thing, you're constantly buying Chinese products, then you're not helping the situation. You're still working for them.
Yeah.
In some aspect. And I mean, I'm not saying if you can't do it, then fine. If you need something and you got to go get it, well then don't beat yourself over the head because it came from China. Sometimes we're so inundated with this stuff at this point that it's almost impossible to
escape from it or find another choice, or
Yeah, I mean, unless you really want to take the time and look. So no one should be really hard on themselves about it, like, okay, I'm all fucked up now because of this. But
right,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But just work towards getting out of it, and if there's a will, there's going to always be a way. And there are all kinds of solutions. There are a lot of good companies out there still, and it's about supporting them and doing what's right and trying to cut out of things and, don't deal with it. Don't eat their crap food. Don't support their McDonald's, which is going into destroying the environment and doing what they're doing. If you can eat organic food, support that, because then you're supporting a farmer who's putting his life out there and all his hard work to try and make something that he knows is not only good for himself and good for the earth, but it's good for everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And the person who's eating it, obviously, So yeah, absolutely, you're totally right. And speaking about dependency and things like that, of course, and also in the nature of house building and finding new ways of of living an alternative lifestyle, I guess. How about if we talk about energy, for instance? How about living like off the grid? We mentioned briefly about some of the solar panels or solar type systems that are out there, wind or whatever. Is this something that you feel you would like to develop, like hand in hand with some of the log houses that you're looking into, develop a really kind of off-grid type system here that is self-sufficient in that sense?
Oh yeah, definitely. I like to bring in solar panels for electricity, also for heating, composting toilets, which are, they're pretty much these self-contained systems. The waste, you can either get a toilet that has the composter on the bottom of it, and you just clean it out every once in a while. You go out and throw it out in your garden. I won't think you would want to throw it in a garden where you're growing food, but if you're growing flowers and stuff like that, that type of garden, I guess you could throw it out there, just throw it out somewhere, but it composts it down. It looks real nice. And then they have these other types of systems where you can put the composting unit either outside the house or down in the basement, and then connect 3 toilets down into it. And that way you're not paying a sewage bill, and it's better for the environment. And there's not these big, you're not polluting the water either. One thing that always kind of gets me is the toilet's filled up with water, and here we are pissing and shitting in the water.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
I mean, and
it's that whole idea also of just keeping things again on a very local level, meaning that what you take from the area you're in, you're giving back to that same area in that sense. You're leaving it in the same vicinity. Here we have these huge, centralized systems where the waste is taken long distances, and they're like ending up in a big, sludge pile somewhere and just rotting away, and they don't know what to, they can't deal with it because, again, it's also very toxic. It's toxic in many cases, but because people are on bad meds and they're eating bad food, it means that junk in is going to become junk out, So, oh, man.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And when it's spread out that way, if someone's taking care of their own shit, literally,
yeah.
Then it's able to be processed better by the earth, by the soil.
Yeah.
And that there's a benefit there, and then there's no over toxicity like you're saying. And also I could also had ideas as far as making outhouses and stuff like that. I kind of lean away from having septic systems just because of the maintenance that goes along with them. Again, if something went wrong with a septic system, you're going to have to rely on somebody from the outside to bring in their truck and then pump it out and do all that type of stuff. So
yeah,
that was why I would stay away from that. And then there's wood burning stoves for heating the house, and then there's wood burning cook stoves. I guess there's solar power heating. If I didn't say that, but I probably did.
Mm-hmm. And that goes along with the idea of warm water, right? You put it on solar panels on the roof or whatever, and for depending on what your location is, of course, but at least half the time of the year you're probably going to be provided for in regards to the hot water that you use through solar powering and things like that. So there are solutions,
Yeah, there are. There's definitely ways, and it's, again, that whole concept of bringing it back into the home where the homeowner owns everything. There's no outside connections, no bills, and things like that. But even with the solar panels for electricity, I know in America they have this program where you can tie into the grid, have a solar electric system, and then whatever extra energy that you don't use, that you store that month, the local electric company has to buy back off of you.
Ah, really?
Yeah, so people could get involved in those types of things, and that could help pay for a solar system if they wanted to convert their house over. So there are those types of programs. I know they're going on in America. They're probably different from state to state, but they are out there.
That's interesting. And one thing that really bothered me here, at least in Sweden, I think that it's actually against the law to disconnect your house entirely from the electrical grid. I think there's a law that says that you have to be connected with it in some way, and that's unfortunate. Do you know if that's the case in the States as well?
No, not that I know of. As far as I know, it's a choice at this point.
Okay. Well, that's good for you then, because in that sense, sometimes you might, because if you end up with a system of your own electricity, so to speak, you might. I know that some people just want to go with a kind of a 12 voltage type system, and just in some rooms they just want to have like lights and stuff like that provided by a 12 volt system, because that will be very much good to if you have solar panels for that, for instance, that will give you ease down on the amount of electricity that you're using, for instance.
Right.
But in some parts of the house, you might, if you want to have a washing machine or something like that, then you obviously need more power for that. And in those cases, it might be good to be connected to the main electrical system that is out there and provided for. But I guess what we're also talking about here is that if all things fail, so to speak, if that system falls apart, then you can provide for yourself with your own type of system, but it might not, in the meantime, be nothing wrong to be connected with what they have out there, and you can use whatever you want to extra from the main grid, so to speak, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if you can't produce all your own energy and you need to draw some in, definitely. But there's definitely, the systems are out there, I think, that can provide all the energy needed to people, the people would need to use. It just all depends on how you tailor it, how many batteries you get, how many solar panels you put on the system.
Yeah.
You can combine the solar panels with little wind turbines, so you can use the wind as well.
And there's there are new discoveries being made all the time, basically. I mean, there are fusion type, possibly alternatives becoming available, cold fusion. There are fuel cells, of course. There are some, batteries and things that you can do that potentially are going to be really revolutionary in the next couple of years here. And who knows where we might end up with this. And hopefully there will be, this will initiate a new type of era here with all this, greeny global warming type junk going on. But what I'm saying is that might actually bring some good with it, so to speak. We might actually move into an era where these type of inventions actually become more encouraged. We'll see what happens, of course, down the road here. But I'm positive in that regard, and we'll see where this goes.
Yeah, I think if it's going to take the people to get involved. I don't think that the system itself is going to encourage things, because right now, I mean, here in America, with them paying all that money out to these people with their bailouts and all, they gave them trillions of dollars, and they could have took that money. Again, it's kind of socialist, but if there really was just an economic problem that came about, which it's not what it is, but if so, they could have taken that money and turned it around and really helped people. They could have set up programs to help people change over, get off the energy grid, and get turned over to the solar thing. But they will never ever promote anything that puts resources in the people's hands.
Yeah.
But I do question why companies like British Petroleum are making solar panels, because they do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's also, they might realize that if they didn't do something at this point, there will actually be public lynching going on. You know what I mean? It's like, for so many years now, they've been suppressing alternative technology, and I think if that would have been encouraged for the past 60, 40, I don't know, years, instead of being encouraged, instead of being suppressed, we would have incredible, free energy devices almost, by now, or fuel cells, or really a cold fusion working or something like that. But I think